In this video, we're going to conclude our video course in Corona for 3D Studio Max, and we will see a little bit more about post-production. So we created in the previous video our interior rendering. We saw a lot of tools and parameters and setup and settings that we can actually use to improve our interior rendering and also how to have a more realistic effect, solve the noise problem with the denoiser or with the quality of the render. We also saw how we can create some camera effects, how we can work with camera using the depth of field and the motion blur, so how we can change here also, and using the Lightmix also how we can change the exposure, the photographic exposure of the camera, but also how we can play with lights using the Lightmix. So Lightmix is another post-production tool that is really handy because it lets you create different version of the same render but without re-rendering it again. And so we talked about how to create exterior rendering and setup and parameters, and we also talk about creating interior rendering. Now for the post-production part, we can also use another software like Photoshop or GIMP, which is the free alternative to Photoshop. So you can either work with the post-production inside Corona Render, but you won't find all the different tools that you will find in specific software for graphic design and photo editing like Photoshop, or again other alternatives like free alternatives, open source alternatives like GIMP. So if you're interested, you will find also videos in our channel concerning Photoshop and GIMP, and you can also write your comments, ask for assistance, write your questions, or also give other suggestions to users about this topic in this video. Now, there are also other possibilities here like Pixar, which is a web app, so you don't need to download and install anything. You can use it directly on your web browser, and again you will find a video course dedicated to Pixar in our channel. I think this is a good option because it's really easy to use, it's really fast and simple. It's kind of the synthetic version of Photoshop and GIMP. So again, you won't find all the different tools that you find in Photoshop, but you will find the most important ones for post-production. Now, if you need to create an animation rather than a static rendering, a still rendering, well, in that case, you probably want to give a look to Premiere Pro or to After Effects or to Nuke or some video editing and compositing software. So, well, these are the most popular software out there, but you will find also other software if you search for them in Google and on the internet. And again, you will find every video course in our channel. If you don't find them, write in the comments, ask for questions, ask for suggestions. We can create also other video courses based on the application that you suggest. So I'm gonna use Pixar here, and you can see I've already entered my account. You need to create an account, it's totally free. You have a premium version with extra tools, but the free version will work fine. So I'm gonna use here, you can see Pixar E, which is the editor, so is the one that is gonna have a little more tools that we can play with. And I use this again because it's really fast and it's running on the web. I don't need to install it and download it. And when I create my area, my account, I have a space here that is gonna save my latest projects so I can retrieve them. So I will open up one of the rendering that we created so far, and I'm gonna use it for post-production. So if I go in my 3ds Corona folder, in my rendering folder, I have some render here that I can use. So I'm gonna go for this interior scene right here, and let's open it up. So we created the depth of field effect, which is the focus and out of focus of parts of my image. So my statue is in focus and the rest of the image is out of focus. We also create bloom and glare inside Corona, but we can add also here bloom and glare. We can sharpen here, we can blur here, but we have essentially more possibilities. So rather than blurring all the background, I can decide what to blur using a brush, or I can apply a shadow. I can apply also some defects to my image like dirt. And remember that anything that looks too perfect doesn't look realistic. So you should try to create some defects. Now you can use PNGs because we already know that PNGs have a fourth channel called the alpha channel that can be used to remove the background of our image. So we can do really easy photomontages using PNG images, or we can also delete the background ourselves using Pixar because it has some selection to remove the background on. It also has a background removal tool. But again, if you want to see these videos, we have an entire video course dedicated to Pixar, or you can type, for example, background removal in the channel. You will find videos showing you how to remove the background from an image. So I'm looking for people here. I'm looking for vegetation, looking for anything that I can add to my render. So this is another thing you can do. You can add dirt, you can add stains, you can add defects, scratches on the materials, on the surfaces to make it look more realistic. It's gonna take some time, but it's easier and faster and less heavy than do it in the rendering. So we saw how we can use the decal tool in Corona Render, but that's heavier than just working on a static image and placing a decal directly using Photoshop or GIMP or Pixar. So you can do here also branding, brand design, advertising. You can insert logos, you can insert things to make like a packaging object. You can see, you can do basically anything that you want, but the only problem here is that you can have this static view. You cannot change the view. You just have this view. You can work on this view and you can adjust the view. You can do color correction. You can insert, again, people, vegetation without doing that in 3D world. So it's gonna be lighter. It's not gonna be heavy as working with 3D people with polygons, or 3D plants or trees with actual polygons. So I'm gonna do some examples in this video just to show you how you can improve your render, adjust, do a little bit of adjustments, and also how you can add some defects. So right now I'm just bringing in a PNG here just to show you how quickly it is to do a photo montage. So I just added a new adjustment layer, sorry, a new image layer, and you have the layer panel there on the right. And I'm not gonna spend too much time explaining to you everything because you will find it in the Pixar video course. So you can also decrease a little bit the opacity, so that is going to kind of blend into the scene, or you can try some different blend modes. Perhaps you find the one that is appropriate for what you need to do. But the most important thing is that you can also find the mask. So it's kind of creating an alpha channel on that part, using that image to create an alpha channel. So you have many possibilities, but the most important thing is that the image that you insert needs to have the same lighting. So that's the most important thing. Shadows need to be similar, and brightness needs to be similar, contrast needs to be similar. So I just adjusting here the brightness and contrast a little bit to make the guy there, the boy in the background, look a little bit more inside the scene and not just completely detached. So